The streets were cold and dark after the golden warmth of Callum's house. I hurried through them carrying a piece of thick paper, a date scrawled in the centre with a loose, carefree hand. 5 days. I had 5 days to wait and to weave another bolt of silk. Well, really only 3 days for the bolt because it would need to be made into a dress. Callum said he'd send someone to collect it so I didn't have to make an extra trip in between parties. The dancing hadn't even been over when I'd left, and he wanted to hold another fete in less than a week. I could only imagine what all that food had cost, plus the swathes of fabric hanging from the ceiling, the band, the wine. Actually, whatever number I imagined would probably be wrong. I had no idea how much good wine cost because I'd never been able to even entertain the idea of buying it. To Callum, it all seemed like nothing, as extravagant as suggesting having pie for dinner twice in a row. My room seemed to ache with quiet when I returned. It almost made my ears hurt when I stepped inside. At the party, I'd been able to feel Odina's body heat while we danced, smell the wine on Callum's breath. Now, it was only my own fingers that twined together, looking for some measure of comfort. The loom sat in the corner, gilded with moonlight. I went to it and ran my hands along the smooth wood. This machine had been my companion since they took Papa away, but it wasn't mine alone anymore. The Bean-Nighe owned the loom now, in a way. I couldn't use it without my sacrifice to her. I wasn't just in debt with Gregory anymore. I was in debt with her too. I decided on a blue thread this time, since Callum had been so insistent I wear the colour. As I loaded the first spool into the loom, I imagined what the finished project would look like. There would be waves rippling across the silk, the kind of waves made by indulgent wind. They'd flow almost violently, crashing into one another in the tight weave of the fabric. The metal needle seemed to stare at me like a hungry wasp. I pricked my finger and let the drop of blood well slowly. It was fed, and I was ready, for everything this all might mean. For the end of my worrying, and days picking which meals to skip, and nights curled into myself to protect against the frigid cold of my room. I could be more than all that, I knew it, and this was how it was going to happen. Again the magic made me faster. I wove all afternoon and had a good portion of silk by the end of it. Not a whole bolt, but I was sure I could finish it in the morning. I swung my legs around the stool and stretched my fingers. They ached and my knuckles cracked with the movement. I ladled out a bowl of cold water from the barrel and dipped my fingers in. Relief flowed through me, and I sank onto my bed. Everything was going to turn out just how I'd always wanted.